Welcome back to another episode of Trading Secrets. Today, I am joined by social media personality, automotive expert, and working mom of three, Kelly Stumpe, aka the Car Mom. Kelly spent her entire life growing up in the dealership business and started her career off by selling BMW vehicles. I got one. We'll get into that. After establishing early career success, Kelly began to think about ways to expand her experience to a larger audience. And in 2020, she began blogging and advising everyday moms about the car buying process. She now has a new platform called The Car Mom. If you are in the market for a car, buckle up. You're going to want to pay attention to this one. Her IG and YouTube channels have combined over 500,000 followers. Videos featuring comprehensive reviews of latest vehicles, including EVs, hybrids, SUVs, and more. We even see she has merch on. So we have so much to cover here, Kelly, from the buying business to the car business to what it's like working in the business and now social media and everything in between. Thank you so much for being on Trading Secrets.
Thank you guys so much for having me. I am so excited to sit down and just kind of gossip about the auto industry with you. I think you do such a good job of making the finance content fun and entertaining, and hopefully I can bring the car side.
Yes. And that's kind of like what this is, right? We gossip about what happens in the finance and business world
Yes.
behind the scenes. We then bring it to the forefront. So then the people out there buying and making decisions know all the good stuff going behind the business. So I do think that's a perfect transition to where I want to kick this off, because I'm just curious, and maybe there are some people that are in the business or want to get into business that are curious what others are making. So I'm going to play a little rapid fire game with you where I'm going to give you a title of a job that I have seen somewhere in a dealership. And I want just an estimation of what you think on the low end, all in they make on an annual basis, and then the high end. And we'll just, for
Okay.
people back home, we'll assume this is like the Midwest somewhere. Does
Yeah.
that work?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So let's start with this. Let's go with, we all know him, car salesman, min, max, average. What do you think?
I would say min 30, max 200, mid 70.
Okay. One follow-up I have on car salesman. Is it base salary plus a commission? And is the commission greater than the base, or how is it structured typically?
Typically, it is 100% commission with a draw against commission.
Wow. Okay. There you go. There's car salesman. Then there's the sales manager. That's the person the car salesman always goes to. We'll talk more about that. Sales manager, min, max, average.
Min 80, max 350, mid 2.
Damn. Okay.
350 might be a little high. There's like GM and sales managers. GM's probably up there. Sales manager's probably lower.
Because I have GM on here because I know.
Okay.
So the next one's service tech.
Okay. Mid 50, max 100, mid 80.
Okay. Interesting. We'll get back to that. General manager.
A lot.
Why is it that the general manager makes so much?
It depends on how the dealership's structured. So what's interesting about my family's dealership is they don't have general managers. They have sales managers and then a sales director. So if I'm thinking about like what that sales director position does, like if it's a multi rooftop dealership group, sometimes they'll just have like a general manager over several of the locations. So, 150, 200, maybe 350. That could be high.
Could it go up from there? Like in investment banking or in different roles, like there are some big people making tens of millions. Like, can there be the one GM that's making like 7 figures?
Yeah, for sure. I think so. Because a lot of them take on a lot of responsibilities like an owner would take on. And like it is almost every position in a dealership has some sort of like commission structure behind it.
Okay. Interesting.
Anything from like a BDC agent to, a service advisor to a finance manager. They're all, if the dealership's doing good, everyone's doing good.
What about, I think that's probably the last one I want to make sure we cover. F&I, finance manager. What does that look? Min, max, average.
They do good. A lot of the times I know finance managers who make more than a sales manager. So, probably I would say min 80, max probably 300.
Okay.
Mid 200. No, okay. 100, 150. Finance manager is a tough job.
When you say tough, how so?
They're the last one to leave the dealership. They have to do the most paperwork, but everyone hates them. And they have I mean,
This is the gossipy stuff we're talking about.
I mean, no, we don't know that we don't hate them. The customers
No,
hate
it's
them
the
because
customer.
yeah, they're
Yeah.
like, they're exhausted. And then they're like, do you want to do this? And then they're the ones who have to tell them they can't get approved and they have to put this much money down. So I would never want to, I never worked that job and I would never want to work that job.
Interesting. All right, guys, that's what I want to do. I want to make sure we started this one off hot and
Yeah,
in
that
the
was
weeds.
fun.
You got all the deals on what people are making, the min, max, average, and you have an idea that for those people that are surprised by that, for those that are maybe taken aback as they are searching for other career directions, are there any positions within the industry that you would highly recommend? And if so, what is the first place or where is the first place someone can go to start exploring that as a career option?
So I love selling cars. Like I absolutely, when I started selling cars, I was 22. I'd never bought a car in my life. And I was at a BMW store. Like I shouldn't have fit. Like I was selling, $100,000 cars to men 3 times my age. And it was the most fun I ever had. Like I should not have loved it so much. It is such a fun job. So I think selling cars, if you want to get into sales, it's a really fun sales job because it's not outside sales. You're not cold calling. People are coming to the dealership. At the end of the day, people are excited to buy a car. And there's also a lot of downtime. Like it's not necessarily this like constant grind of like having to travel a lot. Like the customers are coming to you. The dealerships spend a ton of money to make sure they get good leads and make sure customers are coming to you. So I think like if you're into sales, selling cars is such a good career.
Okay, there you have it, guys. Take a shot at it. If it's something you want to do, you're hearing it directly from the car mom, Kelly, and I think that's great for them to hear that from you too, especially the upside of it. Because I don't
Yeah.
know, it just gets such a sticky rep, don't you think? And I
Oh,
know some
for
people in the business that
sure.
are great humans, like amazing people that are just the best. So it's refreshing to hear from someone endorse it and show all the good in it too.
And just think of like the networking opportunities you like. I was at a BMW store. I got several job offers while selling BMWs because I would talk to these bigwigs who are these owners of this company who are like, hey, if you ever get out of this business, let me know. So it's great networking and it's such good experience.
That's good stuff. We had a restaurateur come on that said, listen, if you're looking for a side hustle, because he has a couple big clubs, he's like, be the host or hostess. Because
Yeah,
those
that's good.
people that are the big CEOs, he said, one time Elon Musk came into his place. He's like, it's the host and the hostess. They're doing it all. So your
Yeah.
Rolodex of contacts will be next level. So that is another reason to get into the business. But let's talk about this. You already alluded to it, but you graduate and you start selling BMWs. Now I think about like the car sales training process or the gossipy things that you guys are talking about in the think tank or
Yeah.
the conference room before you go to the floor. What are some of the most surprising selling tactics that you learned as you were building your career as a car salesperson for the good and for the bad?
Yeah,
Give me the goods.
this is a good question. So one of the things, this is so funny. One of the things my dad always taught me to do was you wanted to like humanize yourself in the business because people don't like you. And some people don't deserve to be liked, but you're also like, you're their worst enemy. They like, it's an uphill battle. So it was all about like humanizing yourself. And you never wanted to like leave your customer alone for too long because then they would have had to like Google or Kelly Blue Book and like, start price shopping you or whatever. So instead we were trained to have this binder on our desk. And in this binder, it was like a get to know me. And it was a way to like humanize yourself and like maybe highlight some of your good reviews and your experience. So it's literally a scrapbook. So I have a scrapbook of me and my husband. And, I was into horses. So I was like riding horses and like I went to college and like, here's all these stunning reviews. And I'd be like, okay, I'm going to go talk to the manager. Here's a little bit more about me if you're interested. Like, I'm so happy that you guys are here. And you slide them your binder and they're like, she's so wholesome. Look at this picture. And that was a way to keep them off their phone, to humanize you. It was to show them your scrapbook.
Interesting. Okay, so that's a selling tactic
Yeah.
that you loved and adopted. How about
Yeah.
one that maybe you're like, no, that's not for me. I'm not going there.
Well, I think I think a lot of the ways where dealerships make a lot of money is on the trades. So it was all about devaluing the customer's trade. So,
Mhm.
a practice was, okay, tell the customer to come out and show you their trade, which, in a way is unnecessary because like, why do I need the customer to come out and show me their trade? Like nothing that they say is going to really, affect the car's vehicle or the car's value. So what they would tell us to do is have the customer come out there with you for no reason, just to come out there and then just walk around the car and touch every dent, ding, and scratch. Just touch don't say
Mhm.
anything, just touch it. And I would do it and I would touch the scratch and they'd be like, oh yeah, that was a little fender bender. Nothing was wrong. And then I'd touch the next thing. Oh yeah, my son hit a mailbox with that. And you're getting them to devalue their own trade. So then when you go back to it and, the number's lower than they would like, say, I know, but like you went out there with me. Like you told me about the time with the mailbox. Like I got to pay to fix that. So that was a way that we would devalue their trade for them.
That's one I never knew about. Now, would in a situation like that for car buyers that are going to the dealership, is that one you'd recommend if a car salesman says, let's go out to the car and look at it? What's the answer? Like if
Yeah.
I'm going today and they want to do it, just like, nope, no need for
Yeah.
that? Or how do you defend it?
I feel so you could do that, but a lot of my car buying advice is super approachable. Like I don't like to do this like fear mongering, or like I also want to avoid any awkward situation. So I would not fight someone on it. I would go out there and I just wouldn't say anything. Like I promise you, they're not going to ask you, they're going to touch you, and customers just love to word vomit. Or like another thing is when they ask you, oh, so why are you trading out? People want to say things like, it's getting too old, it's too high a mileage, gas mileage sucks. Okay, well now when I appraise your trade, I'm going to say, Jason, it's getting too old. The gas mileage sucks. Look at gas prices. This is going to be a hard car to sell. So I just think like, my tip would be, go through the motions. Like don't be awkward and fight them on that, but then just don't devalue your own trade. Don't tell them things unless they ask you, and don't tell them you think the gas mileage sucks. Instead be like, it's been such a good car, so reliable, not a single issue. Bummed to see it go. You're going to have no problem selling it, and like sell your own trade,
I'm like, for some reason, as you're explaining this, I feel like I'm going to have to prepare for like an interrogation. Like when you go, you see the shows where it's like, don't say anything, plead the fifth. You didn't do anything. No, but it makes sense. Like less is more. Like you don't need to share everything. And sometimes the more you share, actually, the more it's going to devalue what you're trying to do. So I think that makes a lot of sense. And this is a perfect segue when you talk about the trade-in, just about the structure. I think about when I was a banker, when we were structuring big deals, there were plenty of ways to make money off it. Ancillary services, of course, upfront origination fees, pricing in the rate, and different structures. And that's how we would hurdle overall our profitability metrics so that we knew we could move forward. In the car business, what are the different areas, like as a sales individual, that you're trying to make sure that you're kind of like marking up or really taking advantage of, or make sure that you're at least talking through so that the profitability for your pockets goes up? And I think as a consumer, it's good to know this stuff.
So I think people are surprised to hear that most of the time a car salesman's pay is not on a percentage of the price of the vehicle, but on a percentage of the front end gross. So it's not like real estate. Like if I sell $100,000 car, I'm not getting a percentage of $100,000. I'm getting a percentage on the gross of the vehicle. It's anywhere from 20 to 30% of the gross. So it's all about, and I think another misconception is a lot of salespeople don't know what a vehicle is priced at. Like, why would they? Salespeople, it's a revolving door. So like in what world is the person who started 2 weeks ago have any control over the pricing of a vehicle? And a lot of sales managers don't want the salespeople to know, because then we'd only sell cars with the highest gross. So really you want to try to hold the line as best you can, because any discount cuts into your gross, but we don't necessarily know if there's $5,000 in markup, if it's a total stinker. Like we really have no idea. And then it's holding money on the trade. So, there's what we give them for the trade, and then there's an actual cash value of the vehicle. And like you said, like those numbers can be manipulated. So at the end of the day, what a salesperson gets paid on is the front end gross and the actual cash value of a car versus what we appraise the vehicle for. So those are the two areas where, you try to hold. And, the biggest strategy is, unfortunately, to try to get everyone to become a payment buyer, because then there's several ways to manipulate payments, which don't come out of your pocket. Things like extended term, more money down, deferred payments, even like, shopping rates. That's kind of a way to hold on growth. So to the consumer, like that's why you never want to negotiate on payment. You only want to negotiate on the price of the vehicle and the trade. And from a salesperson, that's all they're going to try to get you to focus on.
Okay. Now, will the salesperson, we're going to get into budgeting too, guys. We're going to talk a little bit about like how you should know what you should pay for a car and things like that. But from a salesperson's perspective, do they also make money on the F&I, or is that only going to the finance and insurance manager when they are working with you?
It depends. And on our pay plan, I never got paid off of F&I. There's some who do like extended service contract spiffs. So like if your customer buys an extended service contract, you may get $100, but typically not on like the rate markups or any sort of extended vehicle contracts or any sort of aftermarket parts, not in my experience.
Okay. And while we're just going through the process step by step, we talked about the trade-in. We're talking a little bit about the sales individuals incentive and where they might be able to make some money up. One of the things you talked about was the sales manager and the salesman or person not having the actual price point of the car that they can sell at. And I'm in previous posts, I've seen you talk about desk touching is what I think it is. So
Touching
as you're
desk.
touch the desk is what it's called. So tell me a little bit about that and how, as a consumer, you can adjust what you're doing or know what to
Yeah.
look for with that terminology.
No, it is like it's such like a song and dance. And I do hate that about the industry, but you have to understand a sales manager has so many more responsibilities than just negotiating car deals. They really do. They do the hiring, they do the pricing, they oversee the recondition, they do the marketing. Like they're honestly like they work very hard. And typically like you're one of 13 or one of 30 salespeople. So it's not as simple as like tell your manager to come out here and negotiate the deal. Like, we hear that a lot too. So the process is like your sales manager just wants to know how you're handling the deal throughout the process. They want to like know what you got, know what you're looking for. And a lot of the times, like, they have insight to other vehicles that may be coming in, trades that just came in that you might not know about. So like if you came and I was like, hey, he's looking at a BMW 5 Series, he wants this one online, they might be like, hey, we got several more coming in, like find out what he's looking for. They also might want to know, does he have a trade? Like we're low on trades. Like, yeah, he's trading an Audi Q3. So you're just kind of filling them in about what's happening. When it comes to the actual pricing, the sales manager has to control the pricing. They're the ones who are appraising the trade. So yes, it's frustrating as a consumer to be like the back and forth and you don't like that, but it's actually, I think, a benefit to the consumer because what it's doing is you have someone in there fighting for you. The salesperson so badly wants to sell a car. We are 100% commission. We so badly want to sell a car. We don't know the markup. So all we want to do is go to bat for you and put something together. So let them, make it easy on them, make it easy on your salesperson, tell them like what you want to pay, validate the offer you want to pay, and let them go to bat for you. And I would say things I would look out for is, like 1 or 2 times them touching desk, normal. More than that, that's when I interfere. I'd be like, hey, Kelly, you're working so hard for me. I can see it. Can you just have your manager come out? Like, let me just plead my case to him on why I want to pay this price. And just kind of, I would say like, if it's too dramatic, just ask to talk to the sales manager. And that you will not come off as a Karen. People do it all the time.
Okay, so 1 to 2 max, draw
I
the
think so.
line. 1 to 2
Yeah.
max, draw the line there. And then when you continue down that process, you then meet with the F&I manager.
Mm-hmm.
What are things to look out for? Now, you actually corrected me in a previous conversation we had. There was one time that I was buying a car and I was told if I financed the car and held the finance note for 90 days, the bank would write the commission check to the dealership. And as a result of that, I could pay off my loan and I could still get a larger discount on the actual car. You said that was 30 days. So what are some other things that we should be aware of when we're talking to the finance and insurance manager?
Yeah, so I would definitely understand the difference between, especially if you're new car shopping, understand the difference between what's a dealership discount and what's a manufacturer rebate. So like Ford, they're going to throw money at the problem. Like they will give you a $1,500 rebate. They will have a military discount. They will have a college grad discount. You can find those programs ahead of time on Ford's website. So if the finance manager tries to tell you, we discounted the car $1,500 or, we have this special financing rate. No, Ford has that. So I can get that at any Ford dealership. And then understand like, what is this dealership going to do to earn my business? Like, is there an additional discount from this dealership? What about your markup? And I also think getting pre-qualified is super important. So if you're in the used car market, you don't have to get pre-approved because if you want to, great. But instead, just like have a general idea of what your bank would lend you on that vehicle loan. And then make sure what the dealership presents you with isn't astronomical. And if it is, then you have the power to be like, whoa, my bank said I could get, 6%. So I'm going to have to like go to my bank and come back. And then magically, I promise you, they will find you 6% if that's what your bank said. So I think really making sure that you're pre-approved ahead of time is key. And then, do dealerships make money in the finance office? 100%. Do they sell good products? 100%. I mean, these vehicles are computers. Like, I don't know why you would buy a car that doesn't have a warranty on it. That sounds insane.
Interesting.
So I think they have good products. I mean, you're welcome to, shop other extended service vehicle contracts. You don't have to do it at the time of purchase, but it's kind of like life insurance. Like an extended warranty is always going to be the most affordable when your car is the newest. So if it's a vehicle you plan to keep for a long time, it's not a bad idea to invest in it. Gap insurance, a must. Like you cannot be driving around cars without gap insurance, especially if you don't put a lot of money down. And they also sell like the extended maintenance packages, which this is something that doesn't get talked about a lot, but those allow you to prepay for maintenance ahead of time, which sounds like, why would I do that? The benefit is you're able to lock in the parts and labor rate at the current time. And we know, like, we're in this crazy inflation time where, it might cost, $60 an hour now. Okay, what does 4 years look like from now? Like, then
Yeah.
how much per hour is it? So that's also not a bad product. I mean, they do cost money and there is a markup. All of those things are negotiable. So if you show interest and you don't like the price, that's when I would ask for a discount. But yeah, that's a little bit about F&I.
Okay, F&I. That's a lot of the process,
Yeah,
start to
sorry, that was a
finish
lot.
there. No, and it was amazing because it's so many. I mean, people could literally have their notepads out on each step of the process here, and we'll get into some more of those details and the notes. We have the car mom here. This stuff is absolutely incredible information. You had already mentioned to inflation. You talked about price points. I saw that the average car right now is going around, I think the total amount is $45,838, May 2023, new vehicle price. But I saw that there was a massive drop from May to June in actual car prices. It was the second largest drop in car prices we've seen in history. And so I'm wondering, because of the massive spike post pandemic and now this big drop off, from your vantage point, do you think that there's any potential issues within the car business? Could there be an actual car collapse on the horizon if we're thinking about buying a car anytime soon? What's your takeaway from the new information that's just been released?
So with the information that was released, so used car vehicle prices dropped about 4%. A lot of that has to do with because manufacturers now have new vehicles. So like for forever, like you couldn't get your hands on a new car. Well, when new cars become available, used cars are going to drop in price a little bit because now let's go buy a new car, especially for like that slightly used market. New cars have more to offer. Right now, they have way better interest rates. They're brand spanking new and they come with a warranty already. So I think, you know, last year we were taking a lot of buyers from the new car market and putting them to the used car market because new vehicles weren't available. Now that new cars are available again, some of those people are swinging back. So I don't know if I think we're totally going to have a collapse, but something I'm really worried about is how slim, and I know the numbers you're talking about don't reflect that, but I'm very nervous about how slim used cars are going to be over the next 3 to 5 years because so few new cars got made during the pandemic. So like for 3 years, not a lot of new vehicles got sold, which means 3 years from now, not a lot of used vehicles are going to enter the used car market. And that is stressful, especially in that. I mean, it's going to be that way for years and years to come. Like in 2030, there wasn't a lot of 2020s made. So all those people looking for 10-year cars, inventory is going to continue to be tight and those cars are going to continue to be expensive.
And so as a consumer though, what's the suggestion then? Hold your car as long as you possibly can? Or I mean, like, what's the takeaway as someone is thinking about possibly getting into the market to buy again?
So I think if you're between new and used,
Yeah.
if you're between slightly used and new, I would go new because new, I think, is the better deal right now. The manufacturers are putting money behind it, has better interest rates. But for those more like budget buyers who are looking for those used vehicles, it's going to be tight. And it's
Okay.
going to be tight for several years. So I would open yourself up to looking even more pre-owned. Like I always say, like, don't be scared of a car over 100,000 miles. Hello, it has 100,000 miles on it. It's probably pretty reliable. So I would
Interesting.
open yourself up to, your mileage limitations and try to find the deal is even like those more pre-owned vehicles.
What are your thoughts on the overall idea of having, if you're going, especially luxury, especially the price points of these cars these days, certified pre-owned? Like, how imperative is
Love.
certified pre-owned?
I love certified pre-owned vehicles. Inventory is going to be really tight on those because what was crazy about the pandemic is no one turned in their lease. So like everyone kept their lease, and a certified pre-owned car, like 8 times out of 10 was an off-leased vehicle, right? So it was a vehicle that got turned in from a lease, then the manufacturer certified it. I think lease returns were down by like 60%. Like it's something insane. So if you can find a certified pre-owned, I think it's a great car. And we're also seeing manufacturers actually put financing specials on their certified cars as well. So it's another way to get a used car for a lower interest rate, which you're not going to find on your typical used vehicle.
So many moving parts right now. Yeah, I read
It's
this
like
morning that
so stressful.
it is stressful as your buyer, but it's a good thing
Yeah.
people have individuals like you to turn to, people that know the industry, people that can educate people on the ins and outs. I saw pre-pandemic that 30% of all new vehicle retail sales were leased vehicles And now present day, 15% of all new vehicle retail sales are leased vehicles. So that's decreasing. It brings me to a scenario I kind of want to ask you about my buying process and just a few questions. So this was a 2020. I got the 2020 BMW X5. I have this. What do you guys call this in the car industry for
We call
video?
that it's called a Maroni.
Okay, I got a
Window
Maroni
sticker.
in front of me, guys. That big ass
And
sticker.
it's laminated. I'm so proud of you for having it and having it laminated.
And this is from 2020. You can see it's like the colors changed a little bit. So, but I like on this. Wait, one more time. It's a Maloney.
Maroni.
Maroni.
Maroni
On
sticker.
this Maroni sticker, when we're cruising the car lot, is there any Fugazi in here? Is there any bullshit? Is there anything to watch out for that would be like, no, that's just a selling point. Don't worry about it. Or are these pretty straightforward?
100%. Okay, so first of all, I love that you're a BMW guy. And if you were going to come to St. Louis, I was going to pull up in the new BMW i7. That's the car I was going to bring. So you'll have to come out since you're a BMW guy.
100%.
Okay, so a Maroni sticker, no, that's legit. That's from the manufacturer. Here's what you got to watch out for. So that'll be on the vehicle's window. Dealerships like to put a littler sticker next to it that makes it look like it's from the Maroni sticker, and they're going to say like market adjustment, $5,000, and it looks like, and then total price, $80,000, and it all looks like it's in the same font and like it's everything. That's from the dealership. So that little square right there,
gotcha.
That's legit. That's from the manufacturer.
This is legit. That's
legit. That's the window price. Watch out for any other stickers that are next to it that look like it's part of it or anything else on the window. That's from the dealer.
That's a little BS. Okay, keep an eye out for that. Now, when they have this MSRP right down here, right? This total suggested retail price for this one, it was $72,000. Trying to read backwards. What was it? $72,520. What percentage do you think as a consumer we can negotiate off that MSRP retail price when we see the sticker?
So every manufacturer has different markups. I think Jaguar has the highest at Porsche has the highest at 17 or 14%. BMW is 6% markup. So the dealership
6%.
has a 6% margin in that vehicle. So, depends on the price of the vehicle and depends on what they want to do. They're not making tens and thousands of dollars off of it.
Understood. So you have a margin, understand and know what that percentage is. And when you know that percentage, use it to your advantage, however you think makes sense, right?
I think in normal times, like 2 to 3% feels good. But then also remember, again, there's that manufacturer's rebate and then there's a dealership discount. So if BMW has a $1,000 rebate, that's not coming out of their 6%.
Got it. Okay. Now, a question I have for leases. People that have leases that are coming due, or let's say they had leases coming due in the past couple of years, and they're sitting back and forth, him and hawing if they should buy the lease out or not. Walk me through that process and what someone should think about as a consumer.
Do you want to switch the camera?
We're at the 25.
Oh, okay. Okay, we can keep going, she said. Okay, this is a great question. Here's what people need to know, and here's where people get into trouble, is you can absolutely buy out your lease. And a lot of the times, it's a great deal. I would only recommend buying out your lease if you feel like you're going to keep the car for an additional 3+ years, 3+ years. And here's why. When you buy out your lease, you still have to pay tax, title, and registration fees on it. And a lot of people don't always realize that. So if you buy out your lease, so I had a lot of people who are like, oh my gosh, I'm going to buy it out. I'm going to resell it because look at how high these used car prices are. And by the time they registered the vehicle, paid the sales tax on the vehicle, all their margins were gone.
Okay, so keep that into consideration. The two follow-up questions I have to that are the following. If I am buying a used car, how do I know? I mean, you already said over 100,000 miles, but is there a target that you would suggest people buy within either the year or the mileage that you would suggest people stay in a strike zone?
I like the average driver's 12,000 a year. So I think 12,000 miles a year on average feels good. So if it's a 3-year-old car, 36,000 miles feels good. If it's don't let me do my math by 12s. Wow. But I would kind of I would kind of just pay attention to making sure the vehicle was driven a consistent amount of time, and really ask yourself how long you want to actually keep it for, and how many miles you drive. I get so many people tell me, Kelly, 100,000 is too much. I'm like, well, why is it too much? How long do you want to keep the car for? I want to keep a car for 5 years. Okay. How many miles do you drive a year? Only about 10,000. Okay. So you're talking in 5 years, you're going to put 50,000 miles on a car and you're going to trade it in with 150,000 miles on it. Why is 100 too many? 150,000 mile car has so much life left in it. It still would get a good value from a dealership when you trade it back in. So that's really not too high a mileage.
Okay, interesting. That's fascinating. Okay, let's reverse that, flip that coin a little bit. Now I have a car, I'm looking to sell it. And that's actually kind of where I'm at with this BMW. I got 35,000 miles on it. It's a 2020. When people are thinking like, oh, I don't want to drive this car into, the value just right off it. Do you suggest that if people are looking to sell, they should sell it before it hits a certain year or it hits a certain mileage?
Okay, we'll switch the card.
Okay. Do you want to run that question back or?
No, I got it.
Okay.
Unless you want to do it.
No. As long as she's got, or oh yeah, she doesn't need it. We got the audio. We're good.
You're a rock star. Thank you.
How was that Defender, by the way? I saw the post.
Oh my gosh, it's amazing.
Is
it's
it?
amazing?
Okay.
I'm obsessed with it.
The one I got my eyes on too is the autobiography, the Land Rover autobiography.
I like actually see that for you.
It's awesome.
I don't see you as an X5 guy. I think
yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's time.
I think it's time too.
For when I got it.
And I have a good answer to your question. You're gonna like my answer.
Okay, good.
That's okay. She has to do one thing.
Are you good too if we do just like a quick rip down of advantages, disadvantages? Because I got to keep it pretty basic for the audience too, is just buying, leasing online versus in person, just the basic 101. Okay.
Yeah. How much longer do you think we have?
How long have we gone?
About
30?
30. Yeah.
I would say less than 30. Less than 30?
Less than 30. Okay, sorry, she has to lead some content. My sister had just had a baby 2 weeks ago.
And
so I know, and she like does all the, she's my business partner. So she does all the like audio and camera stuff. And I had to come to her house today because it's where our podcast was. So sorry, we're not quite as polished on it as we normally are.
Don't worry about it. You're good. And I think I put a thread out or I put something out that you're coming on and a bunch of people are like, how's her sister's baby? Your followers absolutely. I mean, when I told people I had you on, I was getting message after message after message.
I know, it's bizarre. I didn't think I would. I didn't expect the community element as much as I think we have it.
It's amazing. It's amazing.
Okay. Good?
Yep. Good on my end.
Okay. So Jason, that's a great question. So I think, vehicles take huge depreciation hits, I would say at 30, 60, 100,000 miles. Two other like big depreciation hits that you might want to be aware of is one, when does the new vehicle warranty run out? Because as someone appraising a trade, if I know the vehicle still has some new car warranty in it, I know as a sales manager, okay, if something's wrong with the car, it's still going to be covered under warranty. Additionally, depending on where you go to trade it back in, like let's say you want to trade in the X5. Okay, when is the BMW X5 certified pre-owned warranty expired? Like, could your car still become a certified pre-owned? Because if that's the case, then they'd be willing to probably give you some more money for it.
Interesting. Because those are things we probably don't typically think about, right? I think your average consumer is thinking year and mileage, but you're not thinking about the impact of that. And you're saying that has a really material impact on the actual value of the trade-in.
Yeah. And I mean, also look at the market. Like, I mean, what used car prices just did dropped 4%. Wholesale prices were even worse than that. So it's, your car is my dad and he's a salesperson, but my dad says, your car is never worth as much as it's going to be today.
Right.
So, you could make the argument today's the best day to trade in because tomorrow's not going to be worth as much.
Okay. There you go. You got 3 pieces of advice there. And I think that 30-60 mileage perspective is like a really good benchmark for people back home too. All right. Average monthly car loan payment right now in the United States, first quarter, end of 2023 for new vehicles was $716. For used vehicles was $526. And also, as you can imagine, U.S. consumers, where do they overspend most? Housing and their cars. So do you have any rule of thumb as one sits back and tries to budget for a car? Should it be a percent of your salary? Are there things to factor in that as consumers we're not factoring in? What is the car mom rule?
Okay. Hot take. I think you have to do what's right for you, but I want to kind of like end a little bit of the stigma around spending money on a vehicle, only because these vehicles, I'm not justifying their prices. They are incredibly safe and they get safer every single year. So it's a little hard for me to say, I don't think you should spend that much money on a new car. Okay, well, I think you should get a car with blind spot. I think you should get a car with automatic emergency braking. I think you should get a car so it's hard for me to get on this, like drive a clunker and pay cash and you don't need a fancy vehicle. I'm like, yeah, you don't need the comfort features, but like you need the safety features. So so now what's my number? I don't know. I just think I want to and again, I'm a salesperson, so take it with a grain of salt, but I just think
Yeah.
that it's okay to spend a little bit of money on a vehicle to keep you and your family safe.
Yeah, I mean, when you put it in perspective like that, you're just it really opens things up. Like, you're selling me, so you definitely have the car sales
I mean, what
mentality in your blood. I'm like, "No, I don't wanna get in a wreck. I wanna protect. I'll spend anything." So,
and
I
so
get
yeah, so it's not, I would buy the safest car that you can comfortably afford.
okay, fair.
And
I
I
think
would,
that
let's not have surprise expenses. Let's make sure we have an extended warranty so we don't have like, a crazy payment thing come up. And it doesn't have to be brand new. Like as of 2000, I think 2017, 2016, like now backup cameras were standard. Now blind spot monitoring is standard. So they're getting more features mandated to be standard, but just, so I'm not saying it has to be new, but it has to be newer.
yeah, and I know it has to be newer. I think that's obviously that is so critical. You should think through how much you're spending, right? Like that is obviously a critical point, but also factoring in things like safety and understanding, like what you said earlier, negotiating for the total
Yeah.
price point of the car, not focusing on that monthly payment. That might be a tool to get you a better deal. And at the end of the day, if less dollars are going out over the lifetime of owning that car, the better you are as a consumer. When you think about all the different tools and tactics and places people can go other than the car mom social media pages, but KBB and there's car gurus and there's Edmunds, I know there are some websites out there that you can actually check the individual salesperson's history and record and
Yeah.
rating. What are like your top items? Like, these are the things you must use and do your due diligence before you walk in that car. Which do you endorse?
Well, you've got to choose your salesperson ahead of time. I mean, you cannot just be showing up to the dealership 3 p.m. on a Saturday because like you will get Chip and he will be outside smoking cigarettes and he will call you sweetie. And like that's just and that's just what will happen because so go the extra step, go on Dealer Rater. Fabulous website. You can read reviews about individual salespeople. I would look for someone with some experience, like no offense, but you don't want the green bean. Like, let's
Mhm.
get someone who has a little bit of maybe pull with the management team, like knows what they're talking about, has a ton of 5-star reviews. So I'd select a great salesperson. I'd schedule an appointment. I think that's super important. And then one of my biggest car buying tips is just to realize that validation is the new negotiation. Dealerships spend thousands of dollars every month to make sure their cars are appropriately priced. You do not want to go in there and say, well, do you think you could drop the price by $2,000? Because a good salesperson is going to look at you and say, well, where are you coming up with that? Because they're going to pull it out because this is what the managers do. They arm us with all this paper to validate our prices. They're going to pull it out and they're like, $2,000 less. Like, I pulled the Kelley Blue Book. Like we're under on Kelley Blue Book. Here's a list of the cars that are in your area. We're below all the cars within a 500-mile radius. So where are you getting an extra $2,000 from? And then you're going to like feel silly. And then it's like, that doesn't feel good. So instead, go on Kelley Blue Book, go on Edmunds. I like them all. And they all, are going to, they're all basically the same. Like they all basically say the same information, but just validate a lower offer that you want to make. So instead, they bring you the price of the car. You say, okay, great. So you've been amazing. Like I chose to work with you because I know you're so amazing. This is a little overpriced based on my research. Here's what I've got. Here's the KBB. As you can see, you're a little high. And there's one up the road. Here, I printed it off for you. There's one off the road. It's $1,000 less. So like, I would rather like wrap this up today, do this with you. I don't want to go up the road. Can you match that price? And now the
What a
salesperson has something
negotiation
to
tip.
take to their manager. And their manager could be like, hey, there's one up the road. Like, can we just get this? She said she'll do it today. That's another thing people don't realize. Everyone wants to act like they're not that interested in the car. That's the worst car buying advice I've ever heard. Why would I like drop my pants on a car that you're not that interested in? Instead, say, I'm ready to buy a car. I want to buy a car today. I want to get this done today. What can you do? Can you do it today? Because if not, he can do it today. I'll go up the road. You got to act interested.
Those are brilliant pieces of advice. And I think about those pieces of advice, and they're ones that 99.9% of people are not doing. They're doing the opposite because they're
Yeah,
hearing the wrong advice. One thing that just resonated with me, what you said, was don't go on the Saturday afternoon because, again, that's when everybody goes.
everybody
So,
goes.
what is there a best time to go? I know I had asked you in previous conversations, like, do you want to go towards the last day or 2, 3 days of the month so that people are closing the books, trying to hit their numbers? Is it better on a Tuesday afternoon? Do you avoid holidays? Is there a best time to go?
I've seen crazy things happen at the end of the month. I've seen crazy things happen on holiday weekends. So I don't want to say that's not a good time to buy a car. But what it is it's a busy time to buy a car. So if you don't mind waiting 4 hours to get to the finance office, sure, go on the last Saturday. I it's not a guarantee that you're going to get a better deal though. So that's a hard question to answer. I wouldn't go. I would go like on a Tuesday morning. I actually find that in my experience, sometimes I think a dealership is more anxious to get the first deal out of the day than the last deal out of the day. Like if it's because every day in the car business starts over. It's like we all have anxiety, all salespeople. It's so stressful. So, if it's like their 10th car and, they're doing good, they might not be as willing to negotiate. But like, if the owner's texting them, hey, what's up? Have we sold anything yet? Have we sold anything yet? And it's 12 o'clock on a Tuesday and they haven't. Sometimes they might be a little bit more aggressive and your wait times are going to be less and you're going to get cream of the crop salespeople. So, and all the banks are open. So I think like, a weekday morning and like if you can't take the day off work, if you have kids, don't bring the kids, get a coffee and also realize like it takes some time to buy a car. I mean, I always tell people like it takes 30 days to close on a house and no one has any patience for that. It takes 4 hours to buy a car. Like it's going to take, it takes some time. You got to pick out the car. You got to do the car selection. They have to appraise your trade. You have to get approved. Like just budget the appropriate amount of time and realize it's a 4 to 8 hour ordeal.
Okay, so fair. What about this? I have yet to ask you about, these days you could just swipe your thumb and boom, it's at your door the next day. I think I saw Amazon Prime Day. They did over $5 billion in revenue in 24 hours. What is your take of buying online versus in person when it comes to selecting a car?
I think you should buy a car in person. I just think it is too expensive of an item to not verify that it works for you. Like I see buyer's remorse so often. And I don't think people realize how difficult it can be to get out of vehicle loans before their maturity. So like, let's take our time. Like, let's go. Let's see how we feel in the driver's seat. And I'm also, just me personally, like I always think you'll have a better experience and get a better deal at a local family owned dealership. So like these third party used car giants, they're not for me. I think that supporting local and family owned is the way to go. So choose a good salesperson, choose a good dealership, and you'll have a great experience.
I was going to say, is that based on just kind of like principle and character? Because of course, supporting small businesses, extremely beneficial, makes the entire world go round. Or do you think from a consumer to your experience and price point would be better as well?
I mean, not to trash them, but you can look up the lawsuits that some of those third party ones have. They don't have titles. They're going bankrupt. It's not, the vehicles weren't appropriately reconditioned. It's just not, I wouldn't do it. And I'm not saying, I'm not even saying you have to buy like in your area. Like dealerships have come so far because of the pandemic that they can ship cars all over the country. And it's not as expensive to ship cars as what people think. So like if if you're in Missouri and like there's a car that you like in Kentucky, okay, buy it there. Like buy it at that dealership. And I'm not necessarily saying I'm against buying cars online, especially like if it's a new car and like you've driven the X5 and that's the one for you and they just have the blue one. Sure, whatever. Used car shopping, I would never buy a used vehicle without test driving it first. And I would never buy it online. But, you can, new cars, and people have to because new car inventory had been so low. Like, yeah, look around the country, look for different dealerships. You can buy, we shipped a car out of our BMW store to Iceland. It was wild.
Oh my God. Yeah. That is nuts.
I know, it was an Audi
Money
e-tron.
Mafia back home. Audi each. What are the shipping costs on shipping something to Iceland?
I don't know. Around the States, I would say it's about like $1 a mile in the States. So, if it's the car's like 500 miles away, okay, it's $500. But like, it's the color you want and maybe it's even a better price.
I love it. Money Mafia, Kelly is dropping absolute gold gems into your lap right now. And I love the candor. I love the no BS attitude. And
I know my dad cannot listen to this episode. My dad's not going to be happy.
Oh my God. Hey, we're not going to let dad listen to this one. But I just think even the perspective when you do your car reviews, guys, when you go follow her on YouTube and subscribe on Instagram, you're going to see these car reviews and you sometimes you hear a lot of that negativity and you see the positivity. There is no BS because for the most part, like there's no conflict of interest with the work you do and how you do it. And I think that is just so appreciated for people, especially like the Money Mafia that listen to everything you're saying. I know they will kill me if I don't ask you the basic 101 question. And that is the number one question I got when I said, what should I ask the car mom? Do I buy new? Do I lease new? Or do I buy used? It is now July 2023. How would you answer that?
Excellent question. Okay. I think I've never said buy new, ever. I would always say lease new, buy used. I would buy new. I think buying a new car right now, manufacturers are putting the rebates behind them. They have incredible warranties, and make sure you factor that into the cost. Like a brand new Kia comes with a 5-year, 60,000-mile warranty. Okay, go price that out in the F&I office. Like that's a big value add. And they have great interest rates. I was at a dealership the other day, they were doing 3.9%. I mean, you're not touching that anywhere else. So I think buying new is, and there's inventory. Like, you know, what's fun about the new car market is it's like you can finally like get the color combination you want again. There's no used car factory. So like if you're really specific on trim level, and especially in today's market, like you're not getting like a white on tan Ford Expedition with 40,000 miles. Cause like, again, there's no used car factory. They just can't spit that out, and no lease returns came. So we're not going to see those slightly pre-owned vehicles in surplus for a very long time. So I think buy new. Leasing, I think it's going to be coming back soon. I mean, leases only work when manufacturers want them to work because they have to control what the numbers look like. And they had not wanted leases to work because they wanted to instead sell cars at the highest trim level because there was no vehicles to buy. So leases are coming back. Are they still the deal they once were? No. But a big benefit of leasing is that you can get out of a car every 3 years. So I give my audience specifically, who are families and growing families, to consider leasing. Because I mean, if you take my example, like I had 3 kids in 4 years. So like my needs changed drastically. And if I would have been into a 72-month loan on a car, I might not be I mean, I have a Ford Expedition. Like I would have never bought a Ford Expedition with my first child. But maybe I could have like leased a mid-size car. And then after 3 years, okay, now I'm pregnant with my third. Okay, now feels like a time to upgrade. Or someone who, you know, is married and doesn't have kids, but is thinking about having kids. So maybe like lease, because then you have the benefit of being able to upgrade every 3 years without, you know, worrying about what the vehicle values do. And we're also like on this cusp of like electric hybrids. Like what is a gas car going to look like in 3 years? How much are gas prices going to be? I don't know. Benefit of leasing is you can lease it and then you can hand the keys back to the dealership and say, your problem. I'm not dealing with this. So I would say new is kind of where the deals are right now. But obviously I feel like, you know, that isn't in the budget for everybody. So used cars, it's going to be tough. I would say my advice would be, if you find something, act on it. Like, don't think that, you know, if you stumble across your dream unicorn car, I would probably move pretty quickly.
Okay. I think that's a great breakdown, advantages and disadvantages of both, but also with what you would endorse if you could afford it. Definitely go new. I think one thing you alluded to too is families that are growing and just starting to think about babies and toddlers and making sure that they have the right vehicle to set their family up for success. I've seen you do a ton of reviews on your channels. Which would you say, which manufacturers are the safest and accommodating best for families that are in that growing mode right now?
A good question. I mean, I think that it's not necessarily one manufacturer, but more just really understanding like what it takes to have a car seat and what it takes to make a vehicle family friendly. So looking at things like the car seat hardware. So like, does it have the tether anchors for a car seat? Is there a way to access the third row with a car seat? What does the trunk space look like? And as far as safest goes, you know, I really like IIHS. They do a very good job of doing really thorough crash ratings. I feel like you have to be so careful right now because I have seen so much AI generated crashes happening and then like being like, look how bad the Ford Bronco did. I'm like, that is from a video game. Like an airbag didn't even go off. Like, you guys don't think that's real, right? But people keep sending it to me. So just like a PSA, IIHS and NHTSA, like those are the only crash ratings that we need to be paying attention to. Like, don't let any AI generated one come across your desk and scare you. So I love IIHS. They do a great job. And then I really think just like prioritizing that crash prevention technology on the purchase of your next car. I mean, it's so important. You know, I think there's some people who are hesitant and they're like, oh, I don't want to get that for my teen, or I don't want that because I don't want to have to rely on it. And I think that's kind of backwards thinking. I think that technology is saving lives. And I hope it's standard and across all vehicles soon. I think we'll have a lot safer vehicles on the road. So I would prioritize that.
And this is coming from someone who's done, I mean, how many reviews have you done at this point of
Oh
different
my God.
cars? I mean, it's got to be, how many?
Yeah,
At this
hundreds.
point? Hundreds.
I think I have about 150 YouTube tours, but I mean, like my benefit and my privilege is that I have access to 6 used car lots. And now I have the manufacturer send me cars. So, you know, I was at the Kia dealership the other day and I got in 5 different vehicles and did videos on them. So I just have like such access to the cars.
You
which
have
is
such
fun.
access, and you've also created such an empire, which I find so fascinating. And you've done it through a business that your family's been in since 1957, I think I've read.
Yeah.
I mean, is it fair to say that this empire you're building is, I mean, we talked about some of the numbers earlier, is outpacing what it would have been if you stayed in a sales or sales manager, general manager role?
Yeah.
I mean, that's awesome.
I mean,
Like, how does
definitely.
that
No,
feel when you say, yeah, like, that's so cool? Like,
I
you've
know
changed kind
we
of the
always
legacy.
we always make the joke that like my grandpa and his brother started a used car lot. My dad and his brother grew it to a multi-store franchise, and me and my sister started a blog. And like it's just it sounds, you know, maybe not like the empire that it is, but we're super proud of it. And I really just feel like we're shaking things up. So
It's
hopefully we
so
see like,
cool.
yeah,
You're shaking things up. I think also you're shaking things up in a male dominated industry, which is now slowly transitioning based on your insight and inspiration. I saw in 2022, you hosted your first ever auto show specifically for families and women called the Car Mom Auto Show. This event is happening again this year in September, right?
yes, it's so iconic. And you can get tickets over at our website. It is an auto show for families and moms, and it's so unique because we just wanted to create an atmosphere where people could come compare all of the cars. Like as a mom, like the last thing I have is several free afternoons to go test drive and look at vehicles. And like as a salesperson, I know what it takes to get the keys to a car. Like you, how frustrating. You have to go there. You have to talk to somebody. You have to give them your phone number. They have to call you. Also that like you could see what the trunk space looks like. And I just wanted to avoid that and say, you know what? I'm just going to have all the cars here. I'm going to invite anyone who wants to come. We put car seats in all of the vehicles so you can get an idea of like how car seats fit. We have a ton of vendors. We have like Continental Tire will be there and they'll be doing like free tire tread depth checks. It's hard to say to like make sure your
Wow.
tires are good. And we have a ton of activities for the kids. So it's like a family friendly event. We'll have face painting. We have the fire trucks, a bubble bus. Disney princesses are coming. Like it's going to be
Wow.
pretty, it's going to be iconic. And we'll have like 35 to 40 of the hottest family cars. So SUVs, minivans, some small SUVs, some sedans, a lot of electric vehicles will be there. And it's just like a sales free environment to just look at the
I
cars.
love that.
Yeah.
Love what you're doing. Love how you're changing the scope. It's so much different than that guy like Fusillo. It's gonna be huge. I'm like, oh no,
No,
I'm
I know.
good.
It's
I'm
just
out.
there's so
You've
much like
changed the tone.
fear. There's so much fear mongering. And like, I just I think I just like have so much passion for this because I just don't want to sit on the sidelines while my family's business like, gets extinct because I know dealers have a long way to go and I know the experiences that people have had because like they're the same experiences I had. Like you think it was easy to sell BMWs at 22? Like I dealt with a
Yeah.
lot of like sexism and it wasn't always easy, but like because of that, I know like the gripes that women have with the car buying process and I'm like wanting to change it.
I love it. Let me wrap with this. Two career goals when you look at what you're doing with the Car Mom Empire, either a revenue goal and or an achievement goal, like an achievement and you want a TV show, revenue goals, something you're trying to build. What are two goals that like you have on your
Okay.
manifestation business plan board?
So you know how like I look at like what the points guy has done and you know how like now on like Delta Airlines it says like the points guy like sticker.
Oh yeah.
Okay. I want it to be like the Car Mom approved vehicle or like some sort of like IHS is a top safety pick plus or like Car and Driver does like their Car and Driver SUV of the year and like the manufacturers like want that. Like it's because I mean of course I could like give a best of car today and like it'd be fine. But like I want the manufacturers to like want that and to advertise like with my logo on their car if it's the one that like, we chose for that year. So just like some sort of like real logo integration or like a best of car or a Car Mom improved thing on there. Like that's like a huge goal of mine. And then I also just want to become like, a huge media platform. Like, I mean, right now I'm an influencer and like it's fun and like we do car reviews, but I look at what Motor Trend and Car and Driver is doing. I just want to be like the woman spin on that. So I want to like,
Mm-hmm.
one day when I don't have all the babies, like have a ton of like other female journalists who can like, and other moms and other people who can, write about cars from a woman's perspective and, maybe like own a dealership a lot longer. I don't know. I kind of got a lot of irons in the fire. I'm kind of seeing what works, but, and
A
take the
lot
Car
of
Model show
irons.
on the road. Car Model show on the road.
Oh,
That's a big one. I really want to
that
have
would
one
be
in
cool.
Dallas. Dallas is like my dream location. So if anyone has any dealership connections in Dallas. That's my
There you
goal.
go. Reach out. And we had Brian Kelly, who started the Points Guy on Trading Secrets, and what he did with just a blog and the amount of money he
Yeah.
sold it for is absolutely crazy. So that is definitely in your future. Let me ask you this though: with your current status as the current mom, which is generating the most revenue for you? Is it partnering with dealerships? Is it Instagram? Is it your podcasting? Which generates the most revenue?
Our merch does really well. So I would
Wow.
say our merchandise probably is our biggest. We sell like a all natural car cleaner. We have this thing on my platform called Clean Cars Drive Better because we think clean cars drive better. So we don't
Mhm.
really like, I don't like to buy into the notion of like, because you're a mom, your car has to be trashed. Like, no, take it through the car wash, get a car wash subscription, and then keep your car clean. Like you clean your kitchen every night, clean your car. So we love our car cleaner. And then we sell like a lot of safety magnets. So when had my second, I had a toddler. And you have any idea how stressful it is to like try to buckle in a baby and have a toddler that's trying to run around. So we sell like these safety magnets, and it's a colorful handprint that you stick on your car that then gives your toddler a place to touch their hand so they don't run into the street, and instead they know to stay by the car. And then we do some fun merch. Like we have these like never say never graphic tees with a minivan on them. Just
Those
cool
are
stuff like
great.
that. I don't know.
I love it. It is awesome. You guys are kicking ass, taking names, growing by the second. It is fun to watch it. And all the insight that you just offered us is insight that will save us thousands and thousands and thousands of
I
dollars
hope
amongst the
so.
money mafia.
I
Thousands.
hope
And
so.
not only just that, but the overall experience, driving a better product, feeling safer. And
Yeah.
I like the idea. Keep that car clean. There is nothing better
Yeah.
than when you get into a fresh, clean car. But we got to end with this. We got to end with a trading secret. So it's a trading secret people can't Google. They can't find a textbook. They can only learn from the one and only Kelly Stumpy, the car mom. What can you leave us with from a trading secret perspective?
Well, it's not necessarily auto related. Instead, it's more like social media related, I guess. But I think people underestimate everyone talks about like reinvesting like money back into the business. But I think it's so important to reinvest your time and provide so much free, valuable content to build an audience. Like there is so much I do on the Car Mom that doesn't make a dime. So much like content ideas that we do, so much filming that we do that costs me a ton of money to produce the videos or do this. But if you don't invest in the content, and if you don't make content that I say one of the 4 E, so it either has to engage, educate, empower, or entertain. Every piece of content has to do one of those. Bonus points if it can do more than one, extra bonus points if it can do all four. And I think if you create good content and don't worry about making the money and just build value, when you have something to sell, it's the easiest thing to do.
That is brilliant advice because when you're doing all that, you're building that community. And I know how strong your community is because they have all reached out over and over and over. When I said you were coming on, I mean, you have a sticky community, and that
Yeah.
community go with you wherever you go, whatever you do, because you've built the credibility and they trust you. So I love that. I think
Yeah.
it's a great trading secret for people. I don't know how they haven't, but if they haven't heard of you, Kelly, and the Car Mom channels, where can they find everything you have going on, and where can they reach out to you?
Sure. So you can find us over on Instagram at the Car Mom. And then our website is the Car Mom Official. Oh, but this is good. So I just bought thecarmom.com. Someone had it.
Wow.
Someone had it. They charged me way too much money for it.
How much?
$3,500.
Okay, that's all right.
Okay,
That's
maybe it
not
wasn't that too
yeah, I
much
mean,
money,
it's
but
expensive, but it's not like they like
no, but I'm
crushed you.
not it was like a whole thing because I tried to get it and then one day it just showed up on GoDaddy. And I was like, what? And so I had to buy it because I was so scared it was just like for sale on GoDaddy. Like I didn't even know.
Interesting.
It was not. So it's mine now, which is good.
Okay,
So
got it.
thecarmofficial.com, soon to be thecarmom.com. And then our podcast is called The Carpool. And that's a podcast I host with my sister. And we spill the hot tea going on in the auto industry. So you can check us out over there.
I love it. Well, Kelly, thank you so much for being on this episode of Trading Secrets. This was another one that people are going to have a notepad out because they're going to have a whole book to write to take into their next car buying process. And we appreciate having you on.
Thanks so much.